One of the top things that I see that stop people from reaching their goals is that they're too attached to exactly how it should all play out. They lose sight of what they actually want because they get obsessed over how they want it to happen. I call this myopic thinking or blinders thinking, how they put the blinders on horses so that they don't get distracted by what's going around them. So while it can be really good to be laser focused on a goal you want to achieve so that you don't get distracted by all the noise that's out there, if you've got blinders on, it doesn't let you see the full picture of what's going on around you. And you can very well miss a better way, an easier way, a faster way to get to where you want to go. Now, the opposite can be true as well. If you're completely distracted by every new idea that comes along, you never give a true full effort to any of the ideas. And of course, that will also keep you from reaching your goal. So this is where it gets massively frustrating. You need to give something your true full effort, but at the same time, you need to stay open to new ideas and new opportunities and new information that may steer you toward a better path. I call this one of my bumpers in my gutters situations. Having bumpers in my gutters make sure that I don't go too far off a cliff in either direction, right? So in this case, the bumpers that you want in your gutters are not getting too attached to a very specific process. And on the other side, not giving a true effort into a process to allow it to work. And then nothing actually ever has a chance of working. So how do you navigate this? Like, how do you even know what to do? It's a mixture of data and instinct. Data and instinct. I'll give you a random example. At the end of 2023 and in the beginning of 2024, my weight was just going up. Like, it felt completely out of control and that it was happening very quickly. And since I've been a fitness junkie for decades and really only recently my focus had gotten a little skewed in that regard, I just went back to what I knew how to do to take care of it. I had done that for years. If my weight went up, I knew what to do to get things back under control. And it didn't work. It didn't work. So I got a little bit more extreme about it, right? I got a little more strict about it. I was still using the same info that I had, but I was just doing more of it. And it still didn't work. Data, right? Data. This used to work in a certain way, in a certain amount of time, and it's not working now. Data. And then instinct. Something was off. Something didn't feel right. I knew it. I knew it. That there was more going on. There was more going on than just the fact that I needed to eat better. So data and instinct. So some research and medical assistance later, sure enough, figured out something was going haywire in my body. And what had worked before was never going to work now. It wouldn't have mattered how extreme I got with it. So if I was attached, if I was too stuck on what I knew had worked for decades, I could have gone years and been massively frustrated and starving and unhappy. Conversely, if I would have jumped onto every diet fad out there, I would have been equally as frustrated. I would have been if I just kept switching off, because there's no lack of pills and fads and things you could purchase for that. I would have been equally as frustrated. So you don't have to change the goal. The goal was to lose weight and be healthier. So you have to take the time to try, to take the time to give what you're trying a chance to work. You have to take the time to gather data, and you have to make a real effort. but don't get too attached to a very specific process. I see this also, people who are filling stories. I filled out 2,000 job applications and didn't even get an interview. We're not going to give up on the goal of getting a job, right? We're not going to give up on that, obviously. But maybe around the 400th application, you might start thinking you need a different process. Some variable here has to change. Something has to change because what you're doing isn't working. So kudos for not just like doing it twice and giving up. But come on, like, how do you use this information? What do you want? What are you trying to achieve? But then you have to have an honest conversation with yourself about what you're doing to achieve it. Are you so specific in what you want to have happen and the way you want it to happen? Maybe because it worked before, maybe because you sunk a lot of money into it. That's another big one. You've put so much money and effort into a certain process, you don't abandon it. Maybe somebody who you admire says this is how it has to work. Are you getting too specific so that you have blinders on? What is the data, right? What is the data around your efforts? What does the data say around your efforts? Use your instinct. You've got to know that if you've submitted 2,000 job applications and you're not even getting an interview, one of the variables has to change because it ain't working. So how can you do this? I highly recommend writing it all out. Write it all out. What do you want? What are you doing to achieve it? What does the data say? And have an honest conversation with yourself. Things lose a lot of their emotional charge once they're out of your head and onto paper. That's why journaling works so well. It loses a lot of its emotional charge once it's out of your body and onto a piece of paper, because now it's just data. So look at the data. What do you want? What have you done to try to achieve it? How long have you given it? Have you only tried one thing ever in a day, or are you jumping from thing to thing? And now it's time to tap into your instincts. When you look back over your notes, is it time to change your approach? Is it time to let go of something that you're too attached to? Even if someone you respect says that's how it works, even if you've put a lot of money and effort into it, is it time to change your approach? Or is it time to go deeper? Is it time to say, I'm all in on this? I'm going to give it my absolute best shot at working. And I'm not going to give up until I know that I've done my best effort. Success is not a straight line. I don't care what you're trying to achieve, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to get a job, whether you're growing your business, whether you're working on a specific strategy. Success is not a straight line. We wiggle our way forward. We wiggle our way forward. My advice, my approach is to put bumpers in your gutters to help you keep moving forward so you don't fall off a cliff. You don't get frustrated on either side of the problem. And the closer you can get those bumpers to each other, the faster you get to move forward.